I guess one of the biggest topics on TikTok right now is the lack of education of our black boys. Specifically, they can't read and don't know how to do math. So I found this young man. I believe that he may be an educator just by looking at his TikTok and Instagram page. And I want to give his take on it, share his take on it, and then we'll break it down a little deeper. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And when you do subscribe, hit the notification bells every time I drop a video. You will be the first to know about it. Let's hit it.
Yes, there are a few reasons why black boys perform low on reading and math. The biggest reason is poverty. Black students are more likely to be in poverty than white students, and because of this, a lot more black students go to poverty stricken schools. And if you look at these poverty stricken schools and look at the resources they have, or the lack of, I should say, it's sad. And because these students are going through poverty, a lot of the times the only meal they get is in school. Then you have to understand they're going through so much trauma. They could have so much anger, depression. The effects of poverty are interlaced amongst black students, and they affect black students on all fronts. And another big reason why black boys especially perform low in reading and math is because of discipline. Black students, especially black boys, are disproportionately disciplined and have harsher consequences compared to other students in schools. Black students lose so much time in the classroom due to discipline policies, a lot of which come from teacher bias. And there is also research of systemic bias between African American students and non-black teachers that shows that non-black teachers have lower expectations for black students in comparison to black teachers. And much of the unfair discipline comes from things like hair, dress code, cultural incompetence, which leads me on to my next point, the lack of cultural diversity in schools. If you look at the stuff you got these students reading, like William Shakespeare is cool, Mark Twain is cool, Edgar Allan Poe is cool, but why don't we read about Maya Angelou? Why don't we look at Langston Hughes? Why don't we read anything from Zora Neale Hurston, Toni Morrison? Why don't we read books from more ethnic authors? I guarantee you, if black students were tested on things that were culturally competent to them, things that they could relate to, they would be able to do better on tests. But all in all, a lot has to change within the system for our black students, especially our black boys, to be more successful. Yes, there.
Okay. I understand what he's saying because he's talking from a systematic viewpoint, as in like the school system. But everybody knows it begins and ends at home. If there's no discipline at home, you can forget for the most part is succeeding at school. Now, nothing is 100% foolproof. Nothing that has to do with human beings is 100% foolproof. Uh, you can put you can put 100 kids in the same environment, give them books, give them math, teach them how to read and do math at home. Put them in a school setting. They could be pretty much smart as a whip, but every now and then you'll get a student that might try to lash out. I mean, they're all going to try to test you and try you, but one of them might go overboard. A few of them might go overboard and fail within the system. It happens. My thing is, what you want to do is always to increase your probability of success. If you don't try, you won't succeed. You are guaranteed not to succeed. It's kind of like the stock market, investing in certain stocks and mutual funds and ETFs and stuff like that. If you don't put your money in the stock market, if you don't allow it to grow, because I mean, most jobs now they're gonna put your money in a retirement account, whether you like it or not. So my thing is, if you don't do that stuff yourself already and just say, hey, 20 years, I tell my daughters, look, y'all start saving money now, especially now the stock market is dropping. Y'all start getting these mutual funds, these index funds, and put money in it every month. I don't care if it's $10, $50, $100, $500. Put something in there, just start. Because if you start in your late teens, early 20s, mid 20s, by the time you get my age, it's a doggone good chance you'll be a millionaire or real close to it. And then you can just watch your money grow without even putting another dime in it. And I mean, multiply exponentially, but that's a whole nother story. But again, sometimes, most times it works, sometimes it don't. But like again, if you don't try, you are guaranteed to fail. I tell you all the time that growing up, I grew with my mother and father. Uh, my mom had what 12 siblings. My dad had 7 or 8 siblings off right off bat. They had their mother and father. I think they had their mother and father in life for the most part. Uh, and I know my mom's side, I don't know who pushed education, but I know my mother got a degree. My mother got degrees. My father got degrees. Hell, I got a degree. Thinking about going back to school here real soon. My kids got degrees. It's just, but I know with me and my sister, it started off with my mother teaching us, reading to us as infants, babies. We still got cassette tapes of her reading to me and my sister. Still had the Peter Pan storyteller records that would play the record and they say, when you hear this sound, ding, turn the page. And I mean, you would read along with the book. My mom would read to my sister so much, these books every night, that she could sit there and read a page, couldn't actually read the word, but she could count math. She could count the words out and see a word and and say exactly what that word is. I remember her teaching a girl who was like probably 3 years older than her. They was in the backyard reading, and a girl that was older than her, a young little white girl, couldn't read a certain word, and my sister, probably no more than 2, 3 years old, looked at the book and was like, and I'm sitting here watching them, and she's like looking at the words, and she said, "Oh, that word is." She said the word, and I started smiling like, "How in the heck she knew that word?" But what it was, I knew she knew how to count. She could count the words, but the point is, when she saw the word, even though she could count, she could look at that word and knew what it was because she knew where that word fit in the sentence, where it lied in the sentence, which in turn would teach her what the word is just by looking at it. Uh, but you got to start at home. Infants, if you are a parent, or let's say, yeah, if you are a parent, if you are a child maker, if you make children, and you are not educating your kids at home, then yes, you are failing your kids. Bottom line, school system is not their job. They're not responsible for your child. You bring your child there, they do what they want in educating your kid, and that's it. Beyond that, it's up to you to actually educate your children from the jump. And I tell you, like now, like even here, grandbabies. Matter of fact, when they come over here, first thing I do, I say, before you watch any TV, this is what we're doing. I don't know if you can see that too well, but this is what we're doing. You understand me? Math problems. They got to do math problems. The grandmother got them reading. That's what you got to do here. I don't know what you're doing at home, but here you're going to be educated. I can't kick it with dummies. I just can't. And I'll tell them that in a minute. I can't kick it with dummies. So you got to sit here first, give me 30 minutes of your time, show me what you know in math. And you know what I'm saying? Show me you know how to read. Once you do that, go play. Or we're gonna go outside and we're gonna exert some energy. But like I say, but that's how I grew up. My kids the same way. They had to read, they had their homework. Okay, fine. On the weekends, every morning, you're reading for 30 minutes or an hour. During the summer, every morning, you're reading. If you're at home, you're gonna read first. You're gonna read, or you're gonna do some definitions, some dictionary words or something, but you're gonna educate. You're not gonna sit around here all day and do nothing. You're gonna do something to stimulate your mind at least 30 minutes to an hour a day. It's that simple. I put the work in the beginning to teach them how to read, and then once they get to like second, third grade, because after about the second or third grade, from what I hear, schools stop teaching you your kids how to read. Now they're just going by the curriculum because they expect you to know how to read by the time you get to the third, fourth grade, which is sad because this is why you got a bunch of kids who are graduating high school and can't read on an eighth grade level, which is sad. So again, it starts at home. You don't have to put in a whole, and the problem thing about it is you don't have to put in a whole lot of time with these kids every day. You put in 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 10 minutes with your child and have them read books from the library. You can go get, yeah, you can get books, have them read books for just a few minutes a day, even if they're in school. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? The school teaches them how to read. Okay. That's fine. When they get home, you say, "Hey, what are y'all doing? What are y'all reading at school?" And they'll tell you. And they'll most likely bring the book home. Have them read in front of you every day. It's just a lot of these schools. That's the assignment. So that's why I can't understand how these kids can't read. But you got to put it in them that reading is fundamental. And if you don't know how to read, you become like poor and a dummy. And you know what? Education wise, the statistics show that people with like college degrees, they talk about, people don't need college degrees, which is fine, especially depending on what degree you're trying to get. You get a degree that's in demand and is going to pay you a high salary because college is expensive now for the most part. But there are ways to get around a lot of that. Like you can go to school. Let's say you get. Let's say like this. Say somebody say they can't afford to go to college. So I got to go get a job. We can get a job at Walmart, McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, something like that. Walmart, I'm not sure now, but I knew back in the day, McDonald's too, you can get tuition reimbursement up to a certain amount. So just think about it. You go get a job and you working part time, full time, trying to hustle. Because I mean, hell, I was got 1, 2 jobs going to school. No, my dad had a full time job, went to school. Mom had full time jobs, went to school, getting degrees while they was already making good money. You go to these, like I said, these jobs, and you're working, but then you enroll in school. You take a class here, a class there. I told y'all when I started with my nursing degree, I took one class the first semester, then maybe two classes the next semester, and I built up. I wasn't trying to rush through it, say, "Oh, I got to hurry and get this degree," because I know I had been out of school for 10 years. Been out of school for 10 years, and I knew I just got to pace myself. And once I get through this, everything's gonna be gravy. So I mean, now look. You know what I'm saying? If I didn't have that mindset, I'd be right now probably still working in a warehouse or some dead end job, complaining, still trying to hustle, trying to sell some shea butter, and thinking I'm gonna get rich off of that overnight. Trying to hustle and got nothing and still, saying living in like a 1 bedroom apartment with a fold-out couch for my grown ass daughters to come spend the night. No, I had a plan and I stuck to it. Black man. But I also had the role models of my parents. Hell, even my sister. Like even my sister, she got her college degree and her doctorate and stuff like that before I even got, what I'm saying, before I got my degree. So, what I'm saying, those are like I say, role models and inspirations for me. But I also had like a family that I had, but that's a whole different story. That's a whole nother story. But yeah, man, you have to teach these youngers. I mean, you got to instill in them education. If you don't instill in them the importance of education, importance of reading, the importance of math, I mean, you setting them up for failure. But like I say, it starts at home. So anyway, let's quickly, I guess, break down what this young man is saying systematically.
There are a few reasons why black boys perform low on reading and math. The biggest reason is poverty. Black students are more likely to be in poverty than white students, and because
James Evans Jr. James Evans. Y'all remember James Evans on Good Time? They was in poverty. I don't know what they live in. The Cabrini Green projects, I guess. James Evans pushed education, especially with Michael. Well, hell, all his kids. James, I couldn't. JJ just couldn't quite get it. I can tell you, like my mom, like I said, she had like 13 siblings, so it wasn't like living from a little small town in Arkansas. Wasn't like they had a whole lot of money, but they she made sure, but she got her education right. She got her first like a social degree, then bachelor's degrees. I think even master's degree. I think she said she had like 5 degrees when it's all over and said and done with. So she puts education. So poverty, yes, it could be a hindrance, but it shouldn't be the end all that be all as to why um, black people don't get educated. But it ain't because you can't just say poverty. It's a lot of stuff that goes with it that creates the problem.
Because of this, a lot more black students go to poverty stricken schools. And if you look at these poverty stricken schools and look at the resources they have, or the lack of, I should say, it's sad. And because these students are going through poverty, a lot of the times the only meal they get is in school. Then
And that is a big issue, man. I know schools around here they'll have like programs in the summer where kids can come into the school and get like free meals. Yeah, a lot of these kids do not have proper nutrition, and when you're growing, you definitely need a lot of nutrition. But growing kids, it's not like when you're adults, you're going to eat once a day, and that's fine. You can do that in your 30s, 40s, and on up. But as a child, as a growing body, you need a lot of nutrition, especially with this food that we have now. That well, it ain't really food, but whatever you want to call it, the stuff that's selling in stores that's full of sugar and processed ingredients. It's pretty much killing our kids as we speak and killing their brains. All that sugar is hindering their learning, but yet we still give them let them drink sodas, candies, chips, all this kind of stuff, and don't even think twice because we don't feel like cooking for them or feeding them a nutritious meal. And you wonder why they falling behind and can't comprehend. You know what they say? Sugar in the brain is ADHD, right? But like I said, that starts at home.
and you have to understand they're going through so much trauma, they could have so much anger, depression. The effects of
Sugar.
poverty are interlaced amongst black students and they affect black students on all fronts. And another big reason why black boys especially perform low in reading and math is because of discipline. Black students, especially black boys, are disproportionately disciplined and have harsher consequences compared to other students in schools. Black
I say black kids in general. I tell you one time, my youngest daughter had got in trouble because of some her and another student was going back and forth online. They actually tried to, I want to say, threaten to like expel her from school from some kind of message she sent. But when I held did an investigation and had to bring it to the attention how the whole conversation started and everything went, and how if they really did try to pursue that, I would be getting a legal defense on it because it wasn't right and it wasn't fair. Everybody knew that my child was in school suspension, but nobody knew what happened. But they couldn't tell me what was going on with the other child. But everybody knew what my child was going through. Amazing. This is my daughter who is, well, I'm not going to call it first, but she's about to graduate college. So I'm not even. And then she's talking about she's going to keep going after that to get a higher degree. But yeah, it will try. I mean, hell, as a matter of fact, I remember this child, 'cause both of my kids, hell, I raised them, right? And I taught them, and I home educated them as much as I could. That youngest one was supposed, well, maybe about an oldest one. One of them was trying, I think it was the youngest one, was we're trying to get into one of those what you call it, tag or talented gifted or gifted and talent, what do you want to call it now? Program because regular classes were just holding her back. She was excelling too much. But somehow they did some kind of test and said she wasn't ready for it, which was amazing. Like, how in the hell is she not ready for it? But everything you put in front of her, she's acing it. And she's finishing it quickly. And she's helped tutoring other kids. But anyway, man, that's a whole nother story. Let me get back to this video.
students lose so much time in the classroom due to discipline policies, a lot of which come from teacher bias.
Mhm.
And there is also research of systemic bias between African American students and non black teachers that
Mhm.
shows that non black teachers have lower expectations for black students. In
Which is true, which is why it's kind of hard when I see teachers, when I see the teacher ratio, what have you, and most of them are white or Hispanic. There are very few, if any, black teachers, and especially even a smaller number of black male teachers. Like I say, it's disheartening because I had a few black male teachers when I went to school, when I was especially in high school. In high school, I had a few black male teachers. And I mean, you respect them guys. Matter of fact, my math teacher, my economic and my it's a math teacher, economics teacher, and my science teacher. with black men in high school. That I do remember. That I do remember.
In comparison to black
And
teachers.
my economics teacher, that man used to come in a suit and tie every day, clean as a whistle, smooth as silk. I wish now, looking back, I wish I would have took economics more seriously than I did. I mean, I got a good grade in it, but I mean, I wish I would have studied it and took it seriously and actually got a degree in it.
And much of the unfair discipline comes from things like hair, dress code, cultural incompetence, which leads me on to my next point, the lack of cultural diversity in schools. If you look at the stuff you got these students reading, like William Shakespeare is cool, Mark Twain is cool, Edgar Allan Poe is cool, but why don't we read about Maya Angelou? Why don't we look at Langston Hughes? Why don't we read anything from Zora Neale Hurston, Toni Morrison? Why don't we read books from more ethnic authors?
I'm gonna tell you like this: it's you in their school system. I grew up. I remember reading Little House on the Prairie series. I remember reading Charlotte Webb series in school. I also, like I said, went to, well, this is like public and private school. You know, reading those books. Didn't see any black books, no authors in school at all. But you know where I did see the black authors at? In my own home. Was my mother. She was an avid reader, and she had a bunch of books, and a lot of them were black authors. And I would read these books sometimes. You don't have to have that in school. It'll be great. And there should be more diversity in them books, and they should be stuff should be taught by all authors. I get it. But just in case you're not given that option, you can always go to half price books, or you can go on Amazon and buy any book that you want from any author, or just take your butt to half price books, or take your butt to the library and just browse. Because the reason why I say half price in the public library is because they're either affordable to free. And you can read books all day long. Hey, you sit there you can sit there and read all day long and won't anybody bother. Matter of fact, because I'm looking like, let me see. I'm trying to see. I ain't got so many dang books here. Most of my black books are in my room. That's the thing about it. Let me see. The Gift of Black Folks, because I'm looking for, man, I'm looking for something. I mean, I go back to, I think I got this from my mama's house, like Black Cargo. I think, as a matter of fact, this was a book my mom had at the house, and I got from the history of the Atlantic slave trade. Uh, Let me see. The Black Muslim in America. This is not a really. This is not a light book. This is controversial, really. That, that Black Muslims really don't like slavery by another name. I'm just trying to Tanis coach. Hey, what am I looking for? You know where? Shoot, probably there it is. There, it's right there. Now this is a book that I would recommend people read: The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Wilson. Like I say, stuff like this you can get on Amazon and half price books for little or nothing. And then I got other black books that I've already told y'all about. And then I buy books, you know, I buy and read books from anybody. But the point is, your kids, you can teach your kids how to read every day and do math every day at home. Like I showed you these worksheets. Went online, looked it up, Googled it, went online and printed them out for free. There are too many resources online, free resources that can teach you or can help you. Hell, you probably need to learn how to read your damn self. They can help you teach your child how to read and do math every day. 15 minutes, 30 minutes, that's all they need. And then go on about your day. That little time goes a long way. You just got to put the work in.
I guarantee you, if black students were tested on things that were culturally competent to them, things that they could relate to, they would be able to do better on tests. But all in all, a lot has to change within the system for our black students, especially our black boys, to be more successful.
And I'll tell you one more thing that he forgot. Uh, it's called critical thinking skills. When you learn how to read and comprehend, and comprehension, don't just not just reading, but being able to comprehend what you're reading, understanding the storylines, the characters, and things of that nature. and then having critical thinking skills. It took me a long time while I was in nursing school to figure it out. Once I figured how to really critically think, I could not fail a test when it comes to nursing, because what I could pass tests without actually really having to study a lot because I understood what they're looking for. Once you learn how to comprehend and critically think, teach your kids how to comprehend and critically think. That's something you should teach them at a young age. The sky's the limit. Like I was saying about McDonald's, you can go to McDonald's, work them jobs, go to school, and they'll reimburse you. Find out how much they'll reimburse your tuition for, and that's what you take. If you can take an hour or two more than that over that out of your own pocket, you go ahead and do it, and not be in a hurry to get that. Not be in such a hurry to get that degree. Becoming rich, becoming making money, and taking care of yourself, and being financially free, or whatever you want to call it. It takes time. It's a long game. It's nothing you're going to get overnight. But in the end, you're going to appreciate it much more. And you're going to want to take care of what you have, take care of your assets. You might even want, like I said, keep going to get an education. You're going to want to pay your tax and be a productive member of society. And you're going to want to move out of certain neighborhoods because you're like, I'm not making this money and doing this. And got these people around me who don't respect what I'm doing or what I got. So forget all that. You know what I'm saying? And you try to find like-minded people who got the same dreams and goals that you have. And that's how you build a prosperous community. But you can't blame everything on a system and everything on a white man if you haven't first put the work in or set the foundation. Set the foundation, everything else eventually will fall into place. It may take a little longer, but you can do it. Uh, you just have to put in the work. But anyway, tell me what you think about this story. Leave your comments below. Share it with the world. Let's have intelligent conversation. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Those four things cost you maybe about a couple of minutes out your day, but it means the world does here. If you'd like to support us financially, you can always get a super thanks, super chat, super stickers, or you can go to the description box. There are a couple of links in there that you can click on to help support us that way. If you would like something tangible for your money, which a lot of people do, you can always go to marlonmorale.com or hit our Shopify store or hit that shop button below and check out all our luxury products. We got fragrances, we got silk products, we got handbags, beard products, and much more. Check it out. You will not be disappointed. And with that being said, I leave you in peace and I'll see you on the other side.